Oh boy. I'm sorry, let me be honest real fast. I just leapt into this body. I'm a quantum leaper. So
Scott, that's not you?
no, okay, so my name's Scott. Good. Okay, so what am I doing in front of a computer with headphones on?
We're about to go live here in about 10 seconds. We're reading a Shakespearean sonnet and interpreting it.
Oh, okay, so it's a podcast where you read. Did you tell me that it was a podcast? It's
and we're live.
You're listening to Mike and Scott read a poem. Oh boy.
When I'm eating at my computer desk, the plate has to fit between the monitor and the keyboard.
Yeah.
And it's barely able to stay on the table.
You choose the right plate for that situation.
That's true.
You don't put it on the big plates because you know you can't bring it back to the desk. You might even have to load this plate uncomfortably full.
These are problems that other people have, I guess, now that I see that you and I have this in common.
Well, I can't tell you that I have that plate conundrum. I just know what it's like to choose a plate.
Oh yeah, you're smart enough to imagine yourself in the situation.
Well, I'm saying that I don't have the exact same problem as you, but I've had situations in the past where I have chosen a plate with the forethought of where I was going to sit. I'm like, or maybe even stand for that reason. Maybe I'm at some sort of I don't know where I would be at some sort of reception. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm at a reception. I'm like, well, they got those big plates. I don't want to hold a big plate.
Yeah, look how flimsy that thing is.
Yeah, the mashed potatoes are gonna slide right off. I'm gonna take just this small plate. I'm not even that hungry. Let's be honest. This food doesn't look that great. So, I'm just gonna go small plate.
For that same reason, I've put, how there's those Dixie bowls?
Yeah.
They're just perfect for your palm. I've put stuff that does not belong in a bowl in bowls just so I can eat them, like
a hot dog?
Slices. Yeah, or like slices of meat.
You mean slices of meat? That's just not something you're supposed to eat by itself. Are you talking about like lunch meat?
Or just anything, yeah. It could be those lunch meat platters.
What's a slice of meat?
Like a cold cut.
Cold cut. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So you don't mean to carve a Thanksgiving turkey and then you're calling those slices. I'm making sure that we're talking about the same thing here.
Yeah, pretty much.
A slice of meat? Tell me what a slice of meat is.
I was originally thinking of like cold cuts,
that's what I was thinking of too. I was just confirming.
Okay. Yeah, no, but you're confirming is convincing me that there might be better slices of meat to be using in this story.
Oh, no. I'm not trying to upcharge you on the meat.
All right, yeah, it was turkey. You're right.
It's like if you're a waiter and the guy's like, I'll take the club sandwich. And I'm like, are you sure you wouldn't like a fillet? A full just hunk of meat? I guess I do. That's way better than a club sandwich.
Oh man, how difficult do you think it is to upsell somebody on that? Let's say who's sitting in a medium level establishment.
So like
$40 per plate.
Oh no, a little bit higher than a Cheesecake Factory.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so $30 a plate.
Okay, so even that's a little high for the Cheesecake Factory, but we'll just call it the Cheesecake Factory. Again, I'm just pushing my view into it. I took what you said and I was like, okay, we're going with mine.
You're so good at
this. Okay, so we're at the Cheesecake Factory and you're ordering some sort of sandwich. They have sandwiches on the menu at Cheesecake Factory, I believe. Right?
Yeah, their menu is huge. They got everything.
So if somebody starts from a sandwich, how hard is it for the server to talk them into a steak? I think it's impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah, unless I don't know what tactic you would take.
I don't know. I think if you had enough charisma, you could sell a sandwich guy a steak.
All right, so let's.
That'd be such a thing of pride if you got that done and then you come back into the kitchen with your arms raised, being like, "I just sold a sandwich guy a steak."
Woo! And you cross it off the board. It's all these things that you.
I remember when we used to work at a restaurant together. there was a type of wine that was the cheapest wine on the menu called Woodbridge.
Oh, yes. That's, quite often the cheapest wine on any menu.
And so another one of our coworkers, Chris, he would say like, "Oh man, I got a Woodbridge table." And you know what that meant right off the bat. I started using that.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of things that I have yet to see in a movie about serving. That kind of terminology.
Just the real stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great term. Chris, I think Chris has listened to the show before. I don't know if he listens every week, but hey, Chris, if you're listening to this episode, let's look up a trivia question about Chris this week. We just try to think of, okay, let's do this. Let's try to think of when he was born. And then that'll be... I'm not even going to say Chris's last name on this, so you can't look up his Facebook page or anything. But
he might not want us to say his name.
Yeah,
too.
But Chris, you know who you are. You worked with us. You went on you know who you are because you once or still are on a diet where you only eat raw food.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The raw food thing. Okay, so if you are Chris, the guy that eats raw food, and you want us to reveal your last name, then contact us at mnspoem@gmail.com. Also, Chris, you could follow us on Twitter. We're at mnspoem, or you could follow us on Instagram. So if you have any maybe poems you want us to read, or suggestions for the show, or you want to tweak some of or you have any trivia questions you'd like us to look up, Chris, just send us your thoughts.
Only Chris's, please.
Yeah, that was just for Chris. I hope everybody else wasn't paying attention. So, Sonnet 44.
Sonnet 44. So, just a side note, I was telling somebody today that I'm doing these podcasts, and he was like, "Oh, wow, that's cool." And he said, "How many have you done, or how long have you been doing it?" And I just said the only way that I could reference how long I'd been doing it was I was like, "Well, we're on sonnet number 44," and then I thought, "Okay, I know we've skipped a few, but I don't think we've skipped all that much, like 5 maybe."
Well, no, I think we skipped more than that. But also we're on episode... This is episode 26.
Okay.
And then maybe we did...
No, but we
5 or 6 episodes that didn't air.
Man, it feels like it was even more than that. But yeah, maybe it was just 5 or 6.
So we've done in the 30s, I would say.
So even that, I mean, that's
a lot.
That's a lot of shows. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of shows too. Yeah. I think of just reading the sonnet as an accomplishment. I forget that we also talk for an hour.
Yeah. And then he's like, we were just talking about how much time it takes. And I said, it's about maybe 2 hours a week. And then I remembered that you do your editing. So how long does that take?
Not as long anymore. I usually spend, on one of my off days, I spend a morning maybe for an hour and a half or something like that. But it's just like fun. And
you like doing it?
Yeah, and then I finish it the next day. Or I sit there again and I laugh at the stuff we say and, snip it together and put the music in the right place. Which I do very haphazardly, by the way, and I think it shows. I
love it. I love the format. I just like it.
Yeah, but
I like the music too.
But the fade in and the fade out of the music, it leaves a lot to be desired. I'm working on it.
No, it's fine.
For now. Okay.
I gotta convince you. Sonnet number 44, right?
Yep.
Here we go. If the dull substance of my flesh were thought, injurious distance should not stop my way, for then despite of space I would be brought from limits far remote where thou dost stay. No matter then, although my foot did stand upon the farthest earth removed from thee, for nimble thought can jump both sea and land, and soon as think the place where he would be. But thought kills me that I am not thought to leap large lengths of miles when thou art gone, but that so much of earth and water wrought, I must attend time's leisure with my moan, receiving not by elements so slow, but heavy tears badges of either's woe. Either's woe. Either's woe?
Either, neither, neither. I think Shakespeare is daydreaming about having a transporter from Star Trek. He wants to be able to...
That's the only line that stood out to me too. Something about like why I didn't think to take advantage of traveling long distances while you were away, right?
It's, I wish that I could just think where I want to be and be there.
Oh, he says that. Okay, I didn't even like register that. But what I saw was he says something about he wants to leap large lengths of miles when thou art gone. Like,
yeah, I want to go to where you are.
Quantum leap.
Except quantum leaps through time as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Sam Beckett is leaping into another person's body on the other side of the earth just because he's too lazy to take a plane.
He has to deal with their like little issue that they're dealing with that week.
Yeah, at work.
Yeah, because that's what he did, right? He leapt into people's bodies and like fixed their lives.
Yeah, because there was something tragic that was about to happen, and the computer knew about it because I guess knows all of recorded history from when Sam was born. But you couldn't do that if you're leaping around in the present because the computer, it can't tell the future. So you're just going to be leaping into people, and sometimes there is a problem, and maybe you could help out in some way. Like, just to let you know, everybody, I am not who you think I am. I'm Sam Beckett. I've left here just because I have some business in China, so I'm going to use your father's body.
What if he's so open about it that his name was just famous? People were like, oh, Sam.
Okay, so you have to mark him sick at work.
All right.
Everybody gets 5 Samuel Beckett days a year.
Yeah.
5 quantum... I should stop using his name. 5 quantum leap days a year. That's when somebody quantum leaps into your body and therefore doesn't do your job very well.
Yeah, I see like a newspaper headline of the quantum leap epidemic destroying our nation.
And it's just because people who aren't qualified to do the jobs of the bodies they leap into are still going out and doing it because they're trying to blend in. You don't know who out there is a quantum leap and who's not. Everybody's quantum leaping.
They're going to factories with huge, dangerous equipment.
Yeah, who did Sam think he is? Who did he think he was? That's what I got. I got to make them line up. Who did he think he was to leap into people's bodies and fix their problems?
What qualifies him?
He's got what? Because he's a brilliant scientist. I don't know, but he's very moral. I think most of our lives would be improved if we got a little quantum leap from time to time. Yeah, I wonder how far that can get you at work. When you're like, I'd like to apologize to everybody
for the last 5
week.
days.
Yeah, last week I was quantum leaped, so I'm a little behind on what's been going on. So you'll have to fill me in. And people are like, "Oh, that must be terrible for you," and you're like, "Yeah, well, I mean, it probably ended up saving my daughter's life." So, I mean, it's going to be a net positive. He really fixed things.
Yeah.
But I'm just a little behind at work.
And,
so
and I want to say,
tell me what
I want to say sorry to Frank for sleeping with your wife.
You know, it's just...
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, Frank.
It was the quantum leap guy. He really saved my life, so you should really forgive him on this one.
He's just a bit of a sleazeball. What can I say?
He fixes people's lives, but then he takes what's his.
Oh man,
it's a lot of conquests. All right, so yes, I that's the only thing that I got from our first read through, is that he wishes that he could just imagine himself being where this other person is.
All right,
and it's such a sorrow that he is stuck to physical loss.
So he's generally sad. You feel you're getting sad themes.
I'm getting melancholy, yes.
All right. Let's see.
If the dull substance of my flesh were thought, injurious distance should not stop my way. So if I was just a thought, if everything about what you see is in what you touch, if instead of having a physical form, I was just a thought.
Oh, that's a really cool cool line.
Yes.
That's a cool thought.
This is like sci-fi.
Nice.
Injurious distance should not stop my way. It doesn't matter if you moved far away.
Yeah, like I could go forever without getting injured. I could, walk for 1,000 miles.
For then, despite of space, I would be brought from limits far remote where thou dost stay.
So I can go wherever the hell I want.
I can go where you are.
Right?
No matter then, although my foot did stand upon the farthest earth removed from thee, it doesn't matter if my physical form is on the North Pole and you're on the South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know if that's physically the two farthest parts. I would. What do you think? Where do you think it is?
I would say it's on the horizontal, not even the equator, but on the horizontal axis. The horizontal plane that is the Earth is spinning on. Basically, because the Earth is spinning and it has rotational, what's it called? Momentum. I think the top and bottom are probably squishing in a little bit, and the middle is getting fatter.
Well, isn't the middle the equator?
Is it always the equator? It's a little bit different throughout, depending on which season you're in, right?
I didn't realize that the sphere. I don't know about any of this. I did not know that the equator would.
So is it okay?
Not be in the exact middle, because you picture a globe. I know. I guess with relativity, if it's going fast enough, then yes, maybe one part is smaller than the other. But I would think just the shape of the globe is that in the middle.
The equator's always fatter. Let's look that up. I'm really interested. I'm curious now because I was thinking that. Okay, so the world spins, and it's tilted on its axis, right? Whatever degrees. It's spinning. So yeah, the equator would be the center of the Earth's spin, but it would not be the center plane, the horizontal plane of the Earth's rotation around the sun. So that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying if you have a basketball and you could show me the two farthest parts of the basketball from each other, and then you were to spin the basketball, it doesn't matter how you're spinning it. Those 2 points are still going to be the farthest apart.
Yeah, but if you if it's tilted from your eye's perspective, if you're spinning the ball on your fingertip, you'll be looking above the equator when the ball is tilted and spun in your direction. Well, maybe it's always the same.
Feels to me like it's always the same. But we'll look it up.
Yeah, I want to look that up. I need to learn more about astronomy.
Okay, upon the farthest earth removed from thee. That's what made us start thinking about that. For nimble thought can jump both sea and land, as soon as think the place where he would be. So, see, if I was thought, I could fly over the ocean and over large distances of land. As soon as you could think, Australia, boom, you're in Australia. But thought kills me that I am not thought.
Ah, okay. I get what that means now.
Is it my thought? The fact that I could even dream this up kills me because I know that I can never be thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think, therefore I am, and darn it, I am. I wish I wasn't. I wish I was only thought. To leap large lengths of miles when thou art gone. So when you're away from me, I want to just boom, be with you.
Yeah.
But that so much of earth and water rot must I attend, and water rot, is that water rot?
Or rot, I think what he's saying is
brings, is that does rot brings? Look what thou hath wrought. Let's see.
Yeah, I'll look it up real quick. Beaten out or shaped by hammering. I guess he's referring to the idea of it's shaped by sea and earth or land.
Okay.
Bring. Here's one.
Oh, that's what like I said. Look what you have brought.
Oh no. Okay, wait. I didn't finish it. Bring a material or mixture to desired shape or consistency by hammering.
Okay, but you're bringing it into being.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
I don't even remember what I said. Okay. Oh, here it is. Produced. Yeah. So look what you have produced.
Okay.
And the sonnet. But that so much of earth and water wrought must I attend time's leisure with my moan. I can't even figure out how I'm supposed to read that. But so much of earth and water wrought. Earth and water rot. So things that earth and water have shaped, like the lands and the sea.
I think. Okay, so he says, "But that so much of earth and water rot." I think the that.
Uh-huh.
Can you replace the that with because? But because so much of earth and water rot, I must attend time's leisure with my moan. I'm pretty sure the general gist of what he's saying here is, but because I'm in Earth and there's so much distance between you and me, and Earth is made of water and land, so thinking somebody...
One might say it was wrought by water and land.
Yeah, exactly. He's saying, but because Earth is Earth and there's distance between us, I have to just sit alone with myself moaning.
Yeah, so we got the gist. I mean, you're right about the gist. It's just too bad that we can't say it succinctly.
Yeah.
You know, I feel I'm still going to give us an A, even though we haven't read we got to nail the couplet. But let me just say, even though I know that we're not getting it perfectly, I feel like we did the best we could on that line.
Yeah, we gave it some attention.
Receiving not but elements so slow, but heavy tears, badges of either's woe. Is it the only thing that I'm getting from my natural form are these tears? Like that's what thought is doing to me? Instead of sending me across the earth, look what thought is doing. It's making me cry. Badges of either's woe. So it's either my physical form or my thoughts? Is that the either?
My physical badges of either's woe. Oh. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that idea.
There's two me's. There's my physical form and my thought.
But there's also like me and the person I miss.
Yes. Oh, do you think that either's is the person that I'm missing?
Let me see. Receiving not by elements so slow, but heavy tears. So I am not getting elements so slow. I don't know what that means, but I am getting heavy tears. Is he saying, when rain rains on stones and it creates fissures and cracks in the stone, like the Grand Canyon when the Colorado River has been going?
Yeah, it takes a lot of rot.
So, receiving not by elements so slow, but heavy tears, badges of either's woe. So these crevices on my face they're not from the elements, they're from my tears.
Huh.
But my theory all depends on what the word not means. N-O-U-G-H-T. Receiving not by elements so slow. So if not means...
I thought it meant like none.
Yeah, me too. But
so here was my theory. Here's what I thought that it meant.
Okay.
So if I was thought, I would be pretty much like electrical current.
Mm-hmm.
Just zipping from one place to another. But I'm not. I'm mortal. So I have to deal with the elements. And I don't receive anything from these elements except heavy tears. These slow elements that aren't like electricity like thought. The only thing I get from
I see.
Slow elements.
So receiving not but heavy tears means I'm getting nothing except from these slow elements, except for tears and
yeah, that's the only thing I'm getting from
bad vibes.
Badges of either's woe.
I think that's right.
And here's where I'm going out on a limb, and I'm saying either refers to either my physical form or my thought form. I think I'm taking a little bit of a leap by that last theory.
I like that leap, though.
Okay.
Yeah, you really killed it this week.
It did happen quickly, which could be dangerous.
Yeah, that's true. It could be. It could be about something completely different.
Yeah.
Just a quick...
We kind of say that every week.
Yeah.
We're really hedging our bets. Nobody's buying
Just
it.
a quick question about this one. Do you think that...
Yes.
What's the distance and who's he talking to?
2.5 miles, he's talking to Jim. I don't know. I think this is the type of thing where maybe the scholars have looked into it and said that, oh, Shakespeare was said to have had a friendship with this person who they think might be the fair youth. And around this time, that person moved to France or somewhere else. And so Shakespeare and he were separated. So then that's why they think, oh, also. But I just don't have that kind of knowledge.
Okay, so we're just lacking the information to know exactly who he's talking about here. Just because the previous, like, lover and fair youth and stuff, that might have been wrapped up in last week's sonnet, right? So we might be starting a whole new thing here.
Yes. But it could also just still be the fair youth. And that he's over the sting now, that initial... He was very venomous a couple weeks ago. But maybe now it's just a dull ache.
Okay, and so does the distance from this person, whether it's the fair youth or just some new lover, or a friend, does this distance... Is it actual physical distance, like on the other side of the earth? Or do you think it's death, spiritual distance? Not even death, maybe just spiritual distance. Like,
yeah,
they're just not together anymore.
We were so connected psychically, and now we're not. I would go for the last category that you said, that it's emotional distance, which could be coupled with physical distance.
Yeah.
But I'm taking death off of the table for me.
Got it.
On my camp.
Just interesting that this sonnet brings up all these questions, though. It's a good sonnet.
Well, those are the exact questions that Quantum Leap would bring up all the time. So you could really see the impetus for Quantum Leap from this sonnet.
Yeah, Shakespeare was leaped into this week.
Yes.
I'm sure.
If you don't like Sonnet 44, then it's you can't blame it on Shakespeare, because he was Quantum Leaped that week. And
just so happens to be right around the time where he lost both his lover and his fair youth.
Which, actually, if they hadn't have broken up, Shakespeare was going to be murdered. But the Quantum Leap really helped that. So this was very good. Because the first time through history, Shakespeare only had 43 sonnets. And then he was murdered before Sonnet 44. But then... in the 1980s, there was a quantum leap, and he went back to Shakespeare's time and changed his situation so that he wasn't murdered, and we had another 110 sonnets after that, and we had many plays. So
all because of
good job.
All because of some guy's obsession with Shakespeare. he just wanted more.
To quantum leap. Yeah. He's like, no, I'm going to go back and make him live through that. He also, like, he had to fight off, I don't know, syphilis. Like, he brought back antibiotics.
He brought all these, like, fail-safes or he's future-proofing him for a little while.
Maybe that's what this sonnet is. Like, in the future, man is going to be able to shrink himself into thought. Maybe, like, on a microchip, and go into the internet and travel across the world and rematerialize on the other side. Maybe that will happen in the future. Like, you can just shrink down to a thought and go. And so maybe there's going to be a quantum leap from somebody in the future back to Shakespeare's time. And he's going to cut into Shakespeare's body, and he's not going to be able to travel at the speed of thought because they don't have that technology back then. So maybe this sonnet is all about, oh my gosh, I've never felt this before. I am separated from my love, and I cannot travel at the speed of thought until I'm with my love.
So this is really, it's not Shakespeare's love. It's the Quantum Leaper's love that he's so far distance away from.
He only wrote one sonnet.
Yeah. But, I mean, the sonnet thing, he wasn't planning on writing a sonnet. He didn't want to. It was just Shakespeare's job. He was getting paid to do this, so... Yeah, the guy had to punch in.
Yeah.
Put his helmet on and
He
pull
had
his
to work the
quill out.
8-hour shift. Yeah. He waives his 15-minute break, but he takes his half hour for lunch. So we're going to see if this is a futurist sonnet, the only sonnet written by the Quantum Leaper, because then he went back to his home and Shakespeare took over with Sonnet 45. Is this a Quantum Leap sonnet? Or is this really about Shakespeare missing maybe the fair youth, maybe a new lover? We'll see on the other side of the break of Mike and Scott read a poem. We're back on Mike and Scott read a poem. Every time we've had a baseball analogy for our grading, it's been about a hitter trying to hit a home run. Well, how about a pitcher going for a perfect game? All right, so we're going for a perfect game, but then we walked somebody in the third inning. So perfect game's over, but we still have a no hitter going. So it's the ninth inning. What happens? Do we get the no hitter? Does somebody get a hit? Was there a walk? What happens in the ninth?
It's a high fly ball out to right field.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the warning track, and it's
Wow.
caught.
Oh, okay, good. That's the first out.
All right, second out. Oh, wait, but there's a man on base, right?
No, there's nobody. That was the first batter of the ninth. We're going for a no hitter.
I thought he walked somebody.
Oh, that was back in the third inning.
Oh, okay. Then it's a line drive out to between second and third base.
Uh-huh.
A diving catch.
Ooh, nice. In the air?
Yes.
Okay, 2 outs.
2 outs. Last batter.
Uh-huh.
So he's 3 strikes away from pitching a no-hitter.
Yes.
Couple of foul balls. A
Okay.
strike.
And that's it. That's the game.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to strike and then a couple of foul balls.
I
Oh, yeah.
I like how that's how you would announce it, though. There's a foul ball, another foul ball, and a strike.
And that's
All
it.
right. Okay, so we did it. A no-hitter. So we got a no-hitter. I'm going to make you stick to that. So the one question that I had was, what does either's grief mean? In one of the analyses that I read, it said signs of each other's grief, but that still doesn't really say it. But there's been another one that I saw that said yours or mine. So I think it's talking to the lover, not to that more metaphysical way that I was thinking about it, which is from my physical body and my thoughts.
Yeah, and which, in my opinion, is a much more fun way to think about it, and you still get the same idea.
Everything else was the same with my interpretation, which is he's fantasizing that he could just think of some place to be and then immediately be there, and then it wouldn't matter how far apart we were.
Yeah.
It's killing me to think that I can't be like that.
Yep. So you're right. I think our interpretation deserves a solid A. You know,
Okay, as
we
in
didn't
a
pitch.
no-hitter?
It deserves a solid A no-hitter.
Oh, so it's okay. So there's a no-hitter,
Yep.
but we walked a guy, so it's not a perfect game. So
That's right. But
still not as exclusive.
Yeah. If you go from a, let's say, or you probably know if this has happened or not, but if a pitcher is pitching a perfect game and then walks or like hits a guy with a pitch with 2 outs and then he strikes out the next batter, is that, how bittersweet is that? Is that
Oh, it would
totally
be-
still a great thing? Or is
Yes, everybody would still be very excited. He would still get lifted up because a no-hitter is huge. There hasn't been that many no-hitters.
there's at least a few every season though, right?
Yes, a few every season. Perfect games? There's not one every season.
Yeah.
So when somebody throws a no-hitter, yeah, everybody mobs them. And then in the press conference, he would say, I just let that one pitch get away from me, and it hit him. If I wouldn't have done that, I'd have a perfect game. They would, and then
Oh,
and people would
man.
ask him that.
I'd be in
Yeah.
the Hall of Fame.
Well, he would not just for one perfect game.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Oh, really?
Maybe it would be, oh no, that one game's not going to get you anything in any sport.
What if in the same game he
Uh-huh.
pitches a perfect game and gets a grand slam?
No, you can't get in the Hall of Fame for one good day. They're professional baseball players. They're all going to have good days. All right? Nobody cares about one good day here and there.
The best day that any professional baseball player's ever had should get you somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that no pitcher hasn't done that.
That'd be crazy.
I think I might have said no hasn't. I don't know. But I'm sure that somebody's thrown a no-hitter and hit a home run, so we could look that up. No. Because here's what we have. We're gonna guess Chris's birthday.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna look up the farthest points on Earth.
Uh-huh.
And then I was thinking, can you think of any Quantum Leap trivia off the top of your head, or do you want to just look up a random fact about Quantum Leap and we'll read it on the air? Or do you have a question? I might be able to answer a question you have about Quantum Leap. We'll see.
You know it that well? Yeah, what I'm wondering is what happens to people when they're leaped into.
Okay, I could tell you that.
Yeah.
They leap into his body in the future.
Wherever he's at?
And they're in like this holding cell. But I think something about it keeps them calm. I don't know why they don't just flip out, but somehow they're kept calm.
Wow. So when they leap back, do they have any...
Yeah.
we never really see, huh? He leaps back and you're suddenly in his... from his perspective for the rest of the show, right?
Yes, you never see what happens after he leaps out, I don't think. But I think we are led to believe that they get the memories restored to them. Like it becomes part of their memory, I think. Can't tell you for sure. Farthest points on Earth, and we'll look up... Okay, so I kind of knew the answer to your question because I did know that there were scenes in certain episodes where you would see the person that he leapt into. But I don't know really why they don't just flip out.
Do you know of any... Okay, let's look up this. Do you think... Or I don't even know if we'll be able to find this. Do you think that there's ever been a famous person who got their start or has an early career appearance on...
That's
Quantum
nice.
Leap?
Look up some of the guest stars on Quantum Leap, and you're like, oh, hey, look at that. It's James Spader. Although he was probably famous before.
And
Quantum
Ralph
Leap.
Nader.
Yeah, look at that.
He was an actor.
Consumer rights advocate Ralph Nader. Just playing a part on Quantum Leap. Always playing himself. Oh, there's another thing I need to mention about this poem. It says it should be read with Sonnet 45. So tune in next week to hear the second part of this dynamic duo of sonnets 44 and 45. Or if you don't want to hear something that's maybe about the same thing, just skip next week. We don't want you to listen anyway. We're not talking to you, Chris. That was for everybody else, not for you.
No, we need Chris listening.
All right, guess Chris's birthday.
Right now? Me?
Yeah, maybe not even the year. Just guess the month and the day.
He seems like an April 26th to me.
I'm going to say October 13th. Okay, so we'll look that up. Farthest points on Earth. And Quantum Leap, what happens when they get leapt into, all on the other side of the break of Mike and Scott read a poem. We're back on Mike and Scott read a poem. So you guessed April 26th was Chris's birthday. I guessed October 13th. The correct answer, September 22nd.
Oh, you were so close. But I was closest without going over.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Scott.
So you win that point. Farthest points on Earth?
So, first, I just want to read... Circumference of the Earth at the equator is 24,902 miles. Okay. So this, if you look on Google, Google's first top result from space.com, I think, or sponsored by space.com, it says the circumference of Earth at the equator is about 24,902 miles, but from pole to pole, Earth is only 24,860 miles around. The shape is caused by the flattening at the poles is called an oblate spheroid. So I was right to think that it's flatter at the two poles, but wrong to think that the center, I don't know what you'd even call it, the center line of where the Earth's spinning changes. It's actually just the equator. It's always the equator.
Okay. Always has been the equator.
Which makes sense. The furthest, just a couple side notes, the furthest distance that humans have ever been away from Earth is Apollo 13 when they were on the other side of the moon.
That's it?
Yeah, when they were using the moon's gravity to do that little gravity
Swing.
swing. Yeah.
Yeah, that the thing that they did in Star Trek 4. Anyway, that is...
So the distance of that is 248,655 miles. So just to remind you, the circumference of the Earth is 24,000. That was 248,000.
Yes, so slightly bigger. So, hey, sorry guys that your trip didn't go so well and that you didn't get to walk on the moon, but good news, you guys set a record. And it's going to stand until at least 2014.
That I can guarantee because I've leapt back into this man's body.
There is something that you should know about me. I am not actually President Richard Nixon. I have been leapt into. So...
okay, and then one last thing about this. Apparently it's a pretty popular kind of a discussion topic online. But a guy's blog post on WordPress.com, postscriptor.wordpress.com, he found that farthest two cities apart from each other on Earth is Rosario, Argentina, and Tsinghua, China, at 12,429.9 miles.
Wait, China was the second country. What was the first country?
Argentina.
Argentina. Okay.
Yep. And this, his calculation takes into consideration the elevation of the cities.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But when they say they're digging a hole to China, they're talking about the farthest hole that you could possibly dig.
From Argentina, Rosario.
from yes, I'm saying that this is a little Argentinian child who's digging a hole in their backyard, and somebody says, "Hey, Argentinian child, what are you doing?" And they answer, "I'm digging a hole to China." They are, if they succeed, which most children don't. I mean, let's get down to brass tacks here. Most children do not succeed in digging a hole to China. But if this child did, it would be the largest hole of all time.
Yeah, I believe so. Although, I don't know if these are even on opposite... Like, they're probably not perfectly opposite at the equator, you know?
So maybe it's going to be a little bit of a jagged hole.
Yeah, and it might be a little bit closer because it's not equator to equator.
All right, so I looked up quantum leap. I tried to find out what happens to the person. I know I've seen an episode where you see the present of, of when Sam is alive.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't really remember what happens to the people in there, and I couldn't find the answer online. So if you have the answer, you could email us, mnspoem@gmail.com, or you could just make a podcast about it and we'll listen to it.
We promise.
But they do ask a lot online, what happens to the people when they leap back into their bodies? Do they remember what happened?
Uh-huh.
There is one theory that, or I think maybe it said it on the show once, or maybe not, I don't remember what I read, that Sam's mind and the leaper's mind kind of merge as they're like trading DNA as they're going from one body to the next. So the guy gets the parts of those memories, or gets parts of those memories.
Got it.
There is also apparently a novel. There were a lot of Quantum Leap novels, or there are a few Quantum Leap novels, but one in particular called Foreknowledge apparently talks about this a lot and is a good book according to this person on whatever site I was on. Another thing is that Sam, the leaping was supposed to be controlled, I guess, but then it gets out of hand, and that's why he just leaps from person to person and never stopping. They say that something took over the leaping, and they call it GTF, which stands for God, Time, or Fate. They don't know what took over the leaping, so they just call it GTF.
Ah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
GTF, man.
GTF.
You can use that as a text lingo.
Yep.
Why were you late? GTF, man.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I did not. I just feel better knowing that I'm not in control. GTF is in control. Because it is one of those things.
Yeah. Other than you, yourself.
Yeah, I'm not any of those things. If you're one of those things, this expression does not work on you. So my friend Fate, you can't use it. Time, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm very close to you, but I just can't allow you to do this. God, whatever you're up to, you can't be part of this expression either. This is for me and my people, which is all of you listening and watch Quantum Leap. You get to use GTF whenever you want. Yeah, that's our advice this week. I want to give back to the audience as much as I can, so I want to be able to pass on these nuggets of information that we learned from Quantum Leap, but, sometimes I just want to embrace them. I just want to give them a hug, but, I can't do that because they're like a distance away. I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
I can't, didn't that just kill you?
Yeah, I mean, it could even be time and space.
Yeah, GTF, man.
GTF.
But all I know is that we can't get there because we're stuck in these earthly bodies. What do we get from these earthly bodies?
Nothing but tears, man.
All day and all night, just tears. Because we can't hug
this
our audience.
This podcast has been terrible to me.
My therapist tells me to stop, but I can't.
It's tears just because I can't. I have people that I love that I can never meet.
That's how much we care about you, audience. We're going to keep doing this podcast, even though we cry ourselves to sleep because we can't be with all of you at once. What we're trying to do is drum up interest in a live taping of Mike and Scott read a poem. So if you're interested, mnspoem@gmail.com.
We'll be playing at the Staples Center.
This is our Kickstarter. All right, so we hope to see you at the live show. Until then, you can tune in next week when we complete this duology of Sonnet 44 and 45 on Mike and Scott Read a Poem.
By the way, this podcast was sponsored by, and by sponsored by, I mean...
He paid for this one.
Yeah, she paid for this one.
She.
Siren, the only deaf gladiator in American Gladiator. She was an active gladiator from 1992 to 1996. Look her up on Google, and if you ever watched much American Gladiators, you'll definitely recognize her. She was around for quite a while.
Okay, and if you see her on the street, thank her for sponsoring this episode, and let her know that we really appreciated her support.